Our business editor then, Yuka Royer, joins us now on set. Hi, Yuka.
Hi, Erin.
So you're starting then with that huge order that Boeing has received from Qatar in the context of Donald Trump's visit.
Boeing and engine maker GE Aerospace, its biggest engine provider, secured an order for up to 210 jets worth $96 billion, according to the White House. The plane maker's CEO, Kelly Ortberg, signed the deal with Qatar Airways as Donald Trump and Qatar's emir looks on. The order is for 787 Dreamliners and 777Xs. The White House claims it will create 1 million jobs during their production and delivery. Boeing has been plagued by safety issues and delivery delays. The 777X is still in development and slated to start deliveries next year, 6 years behind schedule, and there is a backlog of about 500 of them already. The new order is among a flurry of business deals signed in Qatar, totaling more than $200 billion, and comes amid growing outrage over President Trump's plan to accept a $400 million luxury Boeing 747 as a gift from the Qatari royal family and turn it into Air Force One.
Yuka, in other business news now, that 90-day tariff pause between the U.S. and China has officially started this Wednesday. For now, we see, at least in the markets, that that's clearly reinsured investors, but there is still some uncertainty.
Yeah, among businesses and those who actually deal with goods between the two countries, all eyes are on what kind of agreement the two sides can hash out over the next 3 months. And Beijing continues to accuse Washington of unfairly imposing unilateral tariffs. China on Wednesday paused some measures against U.S. entities on its lists of export control and other trade restrictions, as well as lowering its retaliatory tariffs as agreed in Geneva over the weekend. The U.S. is keeping in place a 30% tariff, including 20% in connection with the fentanyl trade. China continues to reject the accusation that it's not doing enough to curb the flow of the drug.
The United States levied 2 rounds of unwarranted tariffs on Chinese goods under the pretext of the fentanyl issue. And China responded with additional tariffs and took non-tariff countermeasures immediately to stand firm and safeguard its legitimate rights and interests. These countermeasures remain in force.
Meanwhile, traders on both sides say damage could be done already, and not everyone is optimistic bilateral trade will resume smoothly and rapidly. Siobhan Silk takes a look.
It's still a scary time for Chinese manufacturers that sell to the US. At the height of the tariffs, many laid off employees and slowed or halted production. It will take time to get it back up and running for those who aren't too spooked. And the gap in manufacturing can't be undone for seasonal goods that have strict delivery times.
This cycle's already chaotic. Our normal Halloween production period is from March to September. This is the golden time. Of course, if you take this 6-month period and then you subtract 2 months of tariffs, that leaves only 4 months. And sorry, but we really can't make it on time.
After ports lay idle, supply chain experts are now expecting a rush to ship as much as possible during the 90-day window. That will likely mean a large spike in freight costs on top of the continuing US tariffs of 30% on Chinese goods. While retail giants can weather the storm, American mom-and-pop stores will struggle more.
So all my distributors already told me that everything's going to go up in price. So I have to be smart of what I buy and what I don't buy. I mean, I try to be the lowest price possible, but I'm going to have to raise my prices, which is a bummer.
And with no idea what might happen when the 90-day pause expires, businesses remain unsure about their futures. Lou specialises in nostalgic toys. Now he's worried that after 30 years in operation, his shop could become just another fond memory for his loyal customers.
In other news then, the European Union has proposed cutting some red tape for farmers following a recent wave of protests. Yuka.
Yeah, if you remember last year, farmers across Europe staged months of demonstrations in protest at heavy regulatory burdens they had to carry, while cheap imports were distorting competition. In response, the EU weakened some environmental conditions attached to farming subsidies. On Wednesday, the Commission announced plans to go further in proposals it said could save farmers more than €1.5 billion billion euros annually and limit on-site checks to once a year. Proposed changes include doubling the limit on annual lump sum payments small farms can receive to €2,500, with a new option of a one-time payout of €50,000. Farmers will be allowed to remove up to 10% rather than 5% of permanent grasslands. Smaller farmers would be exempted from baseline requirements tying their subsidies to efforts to protect the environment, while certified organic farms will automatically considered meeting the EU's environmental requirements for funding. Now, farming subsidies under the EU's Common Agricultural Policy are worth €387 billion, about a third of the bloc's multi-year budget. Opponents say the changes would make farmers more vulnerable to climate change. And that's it from the business desk.
Yuko Royer, thank you very much.